Welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast, where we speak about all things related to spirituality, soul level healing, intuitive guidance, frequencies, and much more. I'm Amy Sikarskie, licensed vocational nurse, past life hypnotherapist, master intuitive energy healer, and a clairvoyant physical channel. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Spirit School Online, where we offer courses in energy therapy, free guided meditations, courses and information around learning to connect in with your spirit guides, and much more. You can find me at amysikarskie.com and offerings at spiritschoolonline.com. Hi, beautiful friends. Welcome to today's episode where I have been very inspired to share and speak upon the topics of the clairsenses. So we will see how many clairsenses and stories, information, and content that I can share with you in today's episode. And then whatever doesn't fit in, we'll just flow it on to the next one. So get comfy, get cozy, and here we go. The inspiration today came from a really fun Instagram reels that I made, and for the longest time I was hesitant to do reels, but then I thought, well, why not? Give it a go. And I really found joy in it and just being able to share other parts of myself with everyone. So thank you. And if you're not following me on Instagram, my handle is Amy Sikarskie, and you can also find links to my other pages on there as well. Let's flow into the aspect of clairsenses. And what are clairsenses? Well, you might have heard of them like I did years ago. They were considered clair-gifts. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And while they are gifts, there are sensory gifts. And I think that we might have this misunderstanding sometimes with gifts that we're just given them. Okay, here you go. Awesome. Thank you. That's so lovely. But as with giving or receiving any gifts, the aspect of actually opening the gift, looking at the gift, analyzing the gift, utilizing the gift, and implementing the qualities that are shared within that gift, which can be a physical object, an experience, a moment, or a clairsense. So the clairsenses are also called clairgifts, and they are extrasensory counterparts to our physical senses. So for clairvoyance, that is the vision of seeing, which we have physical eyes. And in clairvoyance, we use our inner eye or our mind's eye, our brow chakra, some call it our third eye. Clairgustance is tasting. So quite literally, you can taste energy and messages come through and this non-physicalized sense of taste. Other gifts are clairalience, which is smelling, clairsentience, to feel. And we'll be flowing through all of these, starting with the clairsense that is related to the root chakra. And this is clairtangency. I feel like this is just a really fun and interesting way to also bring in the aspect of the chakras, because our chakras actually support and regulate the energetic communication and the ways in which we receive and share information through the clairsenses. So each chakra has a clair gift, one or more, that it regulates and utilizes. And the clairsense of the root chakra is clairtangency, which is touch, feel, and receiving information off of physical objects. So our root chakra grounds us into this reality. It helps us to feel like we are a part of society and our family, that we actually belong on earth life. I don't know if any of you have felt like you're an imposter as a human, like, what is this life? I'm trying to do this. It doesn't make sense. None of it feels natural. Am I supposed to be here? So if you have any of those like feelings or have had those experiences and thoughts, I would say, okay, look into making friends with your root chakra, doing some healing and integration. So pull your spirit energy into the body more. Let your soul light infuse and integrate into your root chakra. And in that process, of course, there's a whole transition that can happen as you're purging out any belief systems or any ancestral trauma, even any birth trauma coming in. And so, of course, here I digress and I'm going on a tangent, but it's important to know that we are a holistic experience, all aspects of life. And I think we can tell and know that when we have amazing days and we feel so wonderful. And then we have other days and we're like, whoa, what just happened? My energy completely dropped. I don't feel like myself. So when our chakras are actually functioning properly and we are aligned and we are integrated and we are open to receiving and we feel that, okay, I can regulate my system. I don't have to sit by and watch the world around me happen. I can actually be an active participant and take control of my life and how I view and feel and sense and integrate into the body, therefore integrate into the world. So the root chakra is clairtangency, and clairtangency deals with psychometry, which is the art of psychically reading information off of objects. And the first time that I had this experience was in an angel class, actually up here in Houston with Kim O'Neill, way back in the day. And it was so lovely. One of our exercises was clairtangency, and we were to find a partner, so somebody we didn't know. And there was a really sweet lady, and we paired up. And I don't recall exactly what I was reading off of, but I think it was probably a ring or a bracelet. So it was a piece of her jewelry. And jewelry is a really nice object. Any type of jewelry, even nowadays, I go back and forth on things like the cell phone because a lot of us imprint our own energy into the cell phone, but the cell phone is like this magnetic, really busy portal of information and energy from the whole matrix system. So feel into it if you can get a good read, maybe if you turn it off. But something that somebody has on their body at all times would be a really good physical object to read if you have a choice. So other objects that you can read are pictures. And pictures, sometimes, you want to develop your intuitive abilities. And when we do readings, we have to navigate certain ways using our intention. So you connect, you tune in, you tap in, you start to get a message or information flow through. And then once you've connected and verified that you've connected to the right source, the right frequency, then you can navigate through the reading based upon questions that you ask, your intentions. So if you're reading a photograph, you might find that you go back to the time and space of when the photo was taken, and then you can read deeply into it. If it's of a person, you can read their current state of affairs, like what's going on in their aura, their energy field in relations to other people in their life. You can also feel and sense and start reading into their emotions and their thoughts, if it's not guarded or protected. So sometimes there are boundaries set up from the soul and the guides and angels. So if it's a lost person and there's information that will help you find them, then you can get that information. If it's somebody who's crossed over and they've allowed certain aspects of their self to shine through psychically through the image, then you can get that information as well. But let's flow back to just a physical object. Somebody hands you a physical object and you start to read it. First of all, you don't want to know much about it. I would say the best part of doing a reading is to go in clean. We're there to share the information that comes through and what's presented to us. And based on your skill level and other gifts that you have, potentially other areas of training and what you might specialize in, you might find that you help them to translate the information and process it, synthesize and integrate and heal. But at basic level, as a reader, you're reading. As oracle, you're sharing what comes through. So I wouldn't ask for much information at all about the object. And ahead of time, if you want to clean your hands just to make sure your energy is all clear and that you can get a clear reading, I would probably wash your hands and then shine some light through them as you're prepping and setting your space. I think that's really great. I always like to regulate and set my auric field. And then the way that you do that, well, the way I do it is I visually see what's happening in my energy body, and then I brighten my aura. And the way that you can do that is you emanate your own light, you amp up your energy and let it shine out. That will clear and flush out any energies that don't need to be there. So start in a nice, clean, dedicated space with your intentions. Your energy is really aligned and you're going in with a receptive mindset. So looking at the object with your physical eyes, you might start to get a reading off of it and you might start to analyze it. But again, try and stay away from letting your human self make a story up about what it could be. Just let yourself flow and be guided. And then if you get a funny sensation, like you don't want to touch it, then don't touch it. Just bring your hand up close to it and read the energy field around the object. For those of us who are very sensitive, that would be a great piece of advice and place to start, because if by chance there is some shocking or unpleasant information and energy that this object has to share with you, you don't want to really absorb that information and get too close to it. So start reading the energy field around it, and then you can hold the object and place it in your hands, one or both. Sometimes you might say, well, I want to sit in a comfortable way. And so you find whatever way feels the most comfortable to you. And I just have to pause for a second and share it just started raining. Oh my gosh, so pretty. It's been really warm and beautiful, so it's kind of nice to flow into a different vibration. So if you do hear little drops, that's the raindrops. Okay, so you're feeling, you're sensing the energy of the object, and the information will start to flow through in many ways, a variety of ways. This is where we become multifaceted beings, or we are multifaceted beings. And so this is where we start to utilize potentially other aspects of our own life experiences and our other gifts. And by this, you might see flashes of images that make sense to you, that kind of correlate to an experience you've had in life, or you might not understand it at all. And I just encourage you just to share what you're receiving. I would have them record it either on an audio recording or take notes, and then they can piece together all the information at the end. But sometimes when we're reading any type of a scene or information, we start and we just flow into it right in the middle, and then we will have to accumulate more information and intel that could happen prior or after that initial scene and information. So that's why I say you kind of piece it together. Some of the best aspects of reading energy off of objects is that you can have a clear reading of the person. And it's very individualized as to why you want to do this type of reading, or in which way the receiver, why is it that they're choosing this particular form of a reading. So I would highly encourage you just to play around with it and experience it and see the different ways that the information supports you and your receiver. Now, the reason I share that is because a lot of times we'll do psychometry, clairtangency with lost people and images and items. And that's always a nice way to get a direct read into their physical sensation. And if they recently were with that object, it could be linked more to the physical realm, and you can kind of like find where they would be in the physical plane, location-wise. But I had my first reading, so we're going back to this first reading with clairtangency, and I just put my hand out there. Again, you can use your left or your right. Some of us will have a receiving hand and a giving hand. And essentially over time of working with energy, you'll be able to be ambidextrous with your receiving and giving hand. So just do what feels natural. Seriously, don't overthink this at all. You don't want to overthink anything when you're tuning in and opening to readings. So just follow the safety protocols and let your mind relax and see what comes in. And in this one, I was holding her jewelry. Let's just say it was a watch and or a ring. See, I'm overthinking, but it was jewelry. And I remember the images that came to me. If I would have let myself, the human Amy, in and try to analyze it, the reading would have stopped cold and dead in its tracks. Like, it just would not have gone anywhere if I tried to make linear logical sense of it. So, just flowing with the information, I started to describe to her many heavenly type of visions, and it did look like a dream, kind of. I recall correctly, she was standing outside. There was a woman standing outside, looking up to the light. An angel came down and took her and lifted her up, and they were in the clouds, and there was a place of peace and light, and there were rainbows and a lot of pink energy and love. And I just started to describe the emotions, what I was feeling inside, emotionally and physically, how my body just relaxed. And then also describing uh, the messages that I received, so spoken word, and the visions. And I described to her the scene. It was like we lifted up above the ocean, up into the clouds. It was so pretty. And then we came back down, and then she described to me, she said, "Oh my goodness, like, thank you so much." And it really, really resonated. And she told me that this was a dream that she had, and she thought it was just a dream. And it was actually a visitation from her higher self or an angel. And so it was validated based on the messages that came through in the reading, and just the fact that I was able to share with her the exact experience that she had really grounded it into this reality, and it became truth, a layer of truth, a truth for the human life, something that provided a deep level of healing in the messages that were received and in the validation and confirmation. So the messages received provide insight and guidance, and they do provide a healing to our energy body, but also that awareness of being heard and that we really had an experience. So having it confirmed by somebody you've never met is like, it's just beyond amazing to me, but it's beyond this world. It's spiritually given as a gift, and it can provide deep, deep level of healing to the point where you then begin to build your confidence, and places of doubt and depleted energy in your energetic body and your spirit fill with light, and you feel encouraged and supported and that much closer to God and that much closer to the divine light of your oversoul and your team, your family and spirit state. And sometimes that's all we need, really, to get through the challenging moments of life, because life is so contrasting and we ebb and we flow in this reality. But if you could think of your lowest time ever in life, just know that as low as you were, you could feel that high. That's as high, or if not even higher, in vibration and purity and peace and acceptance and love that you can feel and you will feel when you're in the higher frequencies. And for many of us, that will be after we're out of the physical body. But there are moments through meditation and visiting sacred spaces where you can feel that vibration. And I had a beautiful experience this past summer where I got to experience that to the point that it like brought me to tears. This was at the retreat that I hosted in Mount Shasta in 2021, which was a whole story in itself, the challenges. And I grew so much, and having to listen to spirit and trust spirit, because I started the planning and I reserved this space for this retreat, and it was in December of 2019. So when 2020 happened, it was to be that we were going to go to a retreat in Mount Shasta, summer of 2020. Well, then the pandemic hit, And that was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even want to believe it because I could read all the energy around it and some of the overlying stories, and I could feel the falsehoods in some things. And so I was like, no, we can do this. And sure enough, then I was guided it wouldn't be prudent, it wouldn't be the best. So pulled back from booking, and we waited till the next year. And then still everything was not opened yet, especially in California. So the timing with everything was just perfect. And when I got up there and met the ladies that were there, it was an immediate knowing that this was soul family, and everything made sense that I had experienced for over a year and a half planning this retreat. And in my planning, I had to relax and let go and give it to spirit, give it to God, call my guides in. Because if you know me, I'm a planner. But how can you plan during a pandemic? And how can you really feel, like that you're in control when we never really are? So tuning in with higher self. And I was highly rewarded when we were up on the mountain. And it was a very, very special experience. They said that we were supposed to have a heat wave. It was supposed to be really hot. Well, it turned out that a couple of days before we got there, oops, it's going to be cold. Oh my goodness, I had to repack everything. And then when we were up there, it actually rained. It just poured for a full day, and they were in a drought. It was supposed to be really, really hot. And we rescheduled our tour of the mountain. So the following day, we went up there, and it was right after an eclipse. And it was just so incredibly beautiful. The energy was so crisp and pure and clear. The walking up to the mountain, you could feel the different dimensions. You could feel the portals. You could feel the realms. Like, definitely, I was really surprised. I didn't have any preconceived expectations. There were no expectations. I just wanted to hold space and hold a place for the girls where we could heal and open to our gifts. And on the mountain, it was so beautiful. I recognized the dragon realm. I recognized the Lemurian and Palladian frequencies, the Telos energy, the like elementals of gnomes and fairies, and all of the star family was so close. If you could visually perceive, it'd be like your eyes were open, and I just had to look up to 12 o'clock, and there they all were. And that's just one experience I'll have to share. Maybe I'll get Leanne on here and we'll talk about some other amazing experiences. But the reason I'm sharing that is because I was taken back. I had never experienced a level of peace and heavenly vibrations in my whole life that I can recall. That was so prominent, so tangible, and everyone around me felt it too. In whatever way their words and their descriptions were, we were feeling something amazing. And that gave me hope. And I really feel like that gave them hope too. Because you know how challenging this period of time was. And so that was a breath of fresh air and guidance and comfort. So readings can bring that. It can bring an aspect. It can bring a spark and a piece of it. And the more that your clairsenses are open, you'll feel it. You'll feel the messages come through. And giving readings that are full of love and light, you also get that blessing and that gift and that resonating frequency that you can carry with you. And then as a channel, you can help hold that. Let it flow through. Hold the space, emanate that light through your energetic field for the recipient to feel it. And they may or they may not feel it at the level or the degree that you are. Kind of depends on their mental state of mind, if they're open to receiving mentally, because our intention really regulates our chakras and our energy field. If you have your arms crossed and you don't want to listen to something, you're blocking the energy out. If you're open to receiving, then your chakras are open, your aura is relaxed, and you can receive. So don't ever feel self-conscious giving readings and sharing your light and the love and blessings. If it's not being received, that's okay. Many times they'll go back and review, and it will start to feel nice, and they can integrate it and work through and process the information. So here we have clairtangency, and I feel like this is just how our podcast will be. I'm going to drop in little nuggets of information all throughout. And that's the life of a reader, the life of a healer. And so here is a teacher, and just as a friend, I just want to share all the little tidbits with you. So clairtangency, reading objects. And we talked a little bit about reading images and photos. And I would recommend that when you do read objects or photos, you do one piece at a time, maybe to start. And then if you want to layer them together, you can do that to get a blended reading if you're looking for a holistic piece of the puzzle. So let's say you're reading an object of your grandmother who's passed over, then your grandfather, then you read them together so you can see how their energy worked and was flowing in their relationship. And so that's always a fun way to springboard into something that's a message beyond. Mediumship readings are different than angelic readings, and I sometimes feel like the clairtangency mediumship type of approach gives you information to validate that you've connected with the spirit. It can share messages from the past, but you're reading information, something from the past, psychically what happened previously. So then if you want to use that as a springboard forward to say, okay, I've connected into the vibration, I feel the essence of your grandmother, let's invite her in now and have her come through the dimensional veil and then communicate to her in present reality with messages for the recipient moving forward. So when you do readings, just know there's different intentions for them, different styles and modalities, support, different aspects and outcomes. So clairtangency, if you want to practice, I would recommend that you prep your energy field and work with your root chakra. And then just invite a friend over, and you can bring some objects and they can bring some objects if you want to trade, and just have fun with it and see how it goes. So something that I'm seeing right now is a message to share that can be really an added bonus, something to help affirm or confirm the information and add a little zest and a little extra element to the reading, is that afterwards, if you pull some cards, pull maybe 3 oracle cards centered around the object and the person that owned the object and the messages that were coming through, and see how they add to it and help bring about a fullness, a little bit of extra insight. And that can be really fun and really supportive as you develop your gifts. And you might also find that it's something you use in your readings when you offer your services to others. So at the end of reading an object, return the object to its owner or whoever brought it, its current owner, let's say, or guardian. And then you want to just clear your hands of energy. So you can do a dry bath where you just rub your hands to clear them off. You can wash with soap and water. One of the pieces of advice that I remember reading way back when, so I don't even know the source of the information, but it was like if you can rub up past your elbows after doing energy work, that's the best for a good cleanse. So you just wash your hands with light or water. You can even use a salt scrub to clear that energy until it doesn't feel sticky anymore. You don't feel any heaviness, or you don't feel a connection to it. You won't always feel that with objects, but if it was an intense reading, you might. So clear your energy, return it back, and then offer thanks. So give gratitude, close your aura, and just take note of any little streamers that are cords forming between you and the object, the original owner of the object, and the person or persons that brought the object to you. So you want to close your field and just let your chakras come back into natural resting space. So here we have clairtangency, and it works really well with psychometry. But clairtangency also is an aspect of when we go to a new space and you read the energy off the land, and there you are sitting or standing on the land. Well, your feet have chakras at the bottom of them. and that energy flows up to your root chakra. So you can get a really good feeling. And if you're sitting, your tailbone, especially if you're on the floor, your tailbone is pointing down. Your root chakra can be connecting so close to the energy of the space and the foundational aspect of the space. So you can read the energy of places. And these can be indoors and outdoors, right? It can be, if it's a skyscraper, it can be the 100th floor or the first floor. And you can feel the energy around that space. So the energy in these spaces, there's different reasons and ways in which it can be there. It could be a psychic imprint where it's just there as a vibration that hasn't faded away. It could be playing on repeat like a record player over and over and over, skipping over and over and over, and therefore not really making a lot of sense. Because as records skip, sometimes they hop to the next 20 seconds or the next year, the next timeline. So there's that kind of a thing. But most often what you'll feel is the consistency of the energy in that space. So if it's somebody's home or a sacred place that's been blessed, you can feel that peace and that comfort. If it's a place where there's a lot of chaotic energy, like a courtroom maybe or something like that, that can feel very unsettling. And even if nobody's there and they clear all the furniture out of their space, you still get that impression, that vibration. So when you move places, this is like why it's really also really important. And you're looking for a new place to live, you can feel, how does the energy feel here? And if you love everything about it but the energy, then that's okay. Just kind of feel into it. How much work do you have to do then? Yeah. So you might move into a place and feel as if you have to do some extra cleansing and dedicating. But either way, I would definitely cleanse and rededicate and bring your own energy into any new home. And there's a really beautiful practice in the book Creating Sacred Space with Feng Shui by Kingston. And she talks about how in Bali, when you move into a new home, they have this meditation and a ceremony, if you will, and you gather all of your energy and you bring it with you. And then you can leave a blessing or a prayer of peace and love for the space, but you take your essence with you. And every time we've moved, I've done that. The biggest, the most impactful experience was after living for 8 years in Michigan. We just lived in the most magical place. We had all this acreage and fairy gardens. Our son was born there, and our daughter, we had her already. So they grew up there for 8 years, and there was so much of our life and our family and our love there. It was a little sad to move, but I just pulled all the energy, all of our memories in with us. We all pulled it into our hearts and filled our solar plexus and our sacral chakra with it and brought it with us. So when you move, take your energy from your current space with you and then bring it into your new place and dedicate it and let it just coat and blanket the space like love. Just watch it fill the room and fill the floors. So there is something so powerful and so real of feeling the space and the energy in a place. And clairtangency is one of the clair senses, and that root chakra is so important to help you feel and to recognize what's going on. So it can bring peace, it can bring health, it can bring relaxation, and it can help lift you up to meet your guides. And it can also bring safety, warning signs. If you don't feel comfortable somewhere and you don't know why, everything looks good, but the energy here just isn't good. Trust your instincts. And it might be related to other clair senses for sure. And it might be related to the people that are around that don't own the space or claim any energy of the space to be their own. But the gift of clairtangency can help us in our physical life, and it can help us to tune in for readings. And also, as a practical matter, you can tune into objects or foods to say if it's healthy for you or if it's something that maybe you should pass on. So meaning not to participate with. Like if you're at the grocery store and you want to check a new product or supplements, just hold it and see what you feel. And this also can flow into using your body as a pendulum. If you haven't ever heard of that, dowsing with your body, what you do is you first establish a yes or a no. And then when you hold an object, you can ask, is this good for me? Yes or no. And this is just a very basic description for it. It goes much deeper with other ways that you can test, but you're using your body to speak to you. And that clairtangency is an element that you can utilize, and it is utilized when you read any physical object. So I encourage you to have fun with it and just see how things flow. Remember to set your space, tune in and be open to whatever is coming through, sharing the information exactly how you receive it. Is it a vision? Is it a thought? Is it a feeling? Do you hear a song? And then give it back and clear your energy, release connections, give gratitude, and close your field. And if by chance you don't receive any information off of an object, that's okay. It could have been cleansed, or maybe it wasn't imprinted with information. So let's take a moment, and if you're in a place where you would like to integrate, think about one or two things that you've learned from our conversation today. And then I invite you to come back in the future if you would ever like to offer a reading using clairtangency. And I'm just going to guide you through a little guided visualization to prepare your energy for a clairtangent reading. So take a moment to get settled and comfortable, sitting upright or in lotus pose, and bring your hands in front of you, palm to palm. Take a nice breath in and feel the left and the right side of your body balance. Close your eyes and go within. Feel your body. Get really centered and present. And bring your hands, palm chakras, to your chest, one slightly above the other, close to your thymus, and one midline, right near your heart. And breathe and let the energy of love flow into your body. Let one of your hands drop or slide down to your solar plexus. And breathe. Feel centered within. Take a nice breath in. Notice your brow chakra. Bring your awareness to your crown. Slightly lift your awareness a little bit higher, up to your soul star chakra. And you might notice it's a beautiful, fine, sparkling light, gold and silver, shimmers of orange, pinks, and purples flowing down like fairy dust, just gently merging with your aura, all the way down your aura. And bring your awareness down to your hips. Take a nice breath in. Breathe life into your pelvis. One. Feel the light flow in waves. 3. Notice the peace of light, love, spiritual oneness. Bring your awareness down your legs, past your buttocks, into your thighs. Feel the light and the beautiful loving energy, comfort and peace. Flow down past your knees, through your calves, guide the light through your ankles, into your feet. And notice as your chakras at the bottoms of your feet begin to activate. You might feel a pulsing sensation, a warmth or a cold vibration, a pressure or a lightness. Take a breath in and relax your body. And just visualize a column of light going all the way down into the earth, to a new dimension of earth that is full of love and promise, peace, golden healing light. And take a nice breath in and relax your body as you notice this light beginning to build and lift up, as if you're drinking through the column, as if it were a straw. Here comes the light all the way up, gradually flowing all the way up to meet your feet. And as it does, you can feel that light of pure healing energy from Mother Earth flowing up your body, passing through your ankles and your calves, up to your thighs, and building and expanding in your pelvis, supporting your root chakra. And we ask for a release of all energies, entities, cords, daggers, hooks, streamers, energetic programming and misalignments that are in or around the root chakra, that they be purified, transmuted, released, and cleansed with a light of pureness and oneness, love and peace from Mother Earth. And we invite in the Archangel realm, spirits of the highest frequency of God's source love, to please clear, transmute, heal, and release any energies and entities that do not belong to you. Through all time and space, we ask for a recalibration of your root chakra and the exotonal points within your energy field. Relax and allow this energetic adjustment to complete. When you are ready, take a nice breath in, breathing light all the way up with your awareness to your sacral chakra, solar plexus, your heart. Take a nice breath in. Let the light flow from your heart down your arms and out your palms. And let your palms shine the light through your energy body. And then rest your palms on your thighs, grounding back in your body. And take the time, all the time that you need, to integrate and recalibrate with an activated, clear, and healed root chakra. So thank you so much for joining me today as we visited and spoke a little bit about clairtangency. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hi, thank you so much for joining the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. This is Amy Sikarskie, and I really hope that you've enjoyed the content shared. If you have any suggestions for episodes or guests to have on, please contact me at the email spiritandsoulhealingpodcast@gmail.com. I'll leave the link below in show notes. And also, I want to share that if you leave a review, I would highly appreciate it, as this podcast is just getting flowing, and it will help others like yourself to find the podcast so that they can also receive the information and inspiration shared. When you leave a review, you'll automatically be entered to receive a free 30-minute energy therapy session or angels and aura reading. To be sure that I have your contact info and that I can contact you, please send me an email at spiritandsoulhealingpodcast@gmail.com. For more information, visit the podcast section at amysikarskie.com.